Welcome to the Wellbeing at Work podcast, where we help you optimize all aspects of well-being in the workplace. Welcome back to another episode of the Wellbeing at Work podcast with your hosts, Dr. Cody Crockett and Alejandra Hernandez. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about choosing the right corporate well-being program, because it can be really confusing nowadays to understand what corporate well-being program is going to be the best program for your company. There's so many different options out there, and it's easy to be overwhelmed with different apps, different programs, different competitions, companies, etc. It's really easy to be overwhelmed. And a lot of times this results in paralysis by analysis and ultimately leading to not taking any action towards getting a corporate well-being program. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to choose the right corporate well-being program for you, because it's really understanding that companies are so different. We have different employees, different number of employees, different work settings. We have different leadership teams. So there's so many different variables when it comes to the companies that are out there. We all have different needs. And so understanding what the needs are for your company is going to be one of the most important things in determining what the best corporate well-being program is for you. In your experience, Alejandra, in working in different businesses in your past, what's been your experience with corporate well-being programs? Have you seen them as successful? What are some of the biggest problems that you've seen with corporate well-being programs in your past?
Yeah. So, I think there's two different things. So one, before I became an entrepreneur, before I was a co-founder of Opti Wellbeing Solutions, in the past, I have worked in a variety of different industries. However, overall in small businesses. And so one of the things is seeing just the lack of any corporate well-being program at all, and not having really anything in. And this is, I think, oftentimes because it's a small business, this is seen as something that's more of a luxury. And I also saw the impact of not having anything around resources for well-being at work. I've worked in places that are incredibly stressful, meaning they are places where all you ever hear are words like stressed and overwhelmed and oh my gosh, and just like this constant level of stress. And so I will say that's on the one end. Like in my experience, I've just surely seen the lack of well-being at work being spearheaded in any capacity. And then the second thing, when I did see corporate well-being, what I thought was really missing was company leadership really being bought in as something like that. This is great for us, and more of like, okay, here you go. This is something for you all. Like, I hope you enjoy this. But it wasn't really something that felt connected and that was aligned from the top down. And I think the other thing is the miscommunication of what the corporate well-being program is and what it offers and what it's designed to do. Because when you don't have that, what I noticed was then people don't really feel connected to what is being offered. And sometimes company leaders take that as they don't even care. So why are we even doing this? And really, it comes down to some communication efforts around corporate well-being. So I think that's really important. And we're going to, have some questions here on like what you want to look for in a corporate well-being company. And I think for a company itself is also, how do they support the company leaders who are deciding that this is going to be a great fit for their employees? How does this company support you in being able to administer the program, being able to integrate the program? Because that's really important. And the corporate well-being company that you do choose should be able to support you in that process, because they've done this. They've helped companies. And again, like you said, of different sizes, of different industries, of many different ways to be able to implement and integrate the workshops, or, that's what we do, but any kind of corporate well-being, whether it's going to be a fitness app or whether it's going to be a team building day or whether it's going to be, whatever it may be. So I would say, just to wrap that up, one of the big things is like the lack of communication on what this is. And if it's really what people want, is it really what people think is going to be helpful for them? Sometimes company leaders kind of come up with ideas in their own like boardroom with other company leaders, when they're not talking to the people that are oftentimes in the majority that are really experiencing a lot of the stress or a lot of the day-to-day, a lot of the things going on. So communication, I would say, this is number one. And you definitely want to look for a corporate well-being company that's going to support you with how do we administer this out so that we can get the most engagement as possible, knowing that you're not going to get everyone to be engaged with the corporate wellness program, but how do you get them to be excited and engaged for it?
Yeah, there's something that you said that really stuck out for me, Alejandra, and it's that the leadership team needs to be on board. They need to be bought in to corporate well-being, because if the employees look up to the leadership and they see that the upper management or the leadership team isn't bought into corporate well-being, and if they're not prioritizing corporate well-being, then the employees don't value that corporate well-being either. They look to people to lead. They look to management to lead and be the example. And when they see those that they look up to be the example aren't on board with actually practicing corporate well-being, then there's not going to be that engagement of the employees. The other point that you said that I really liked was that employees need to have communication with their leaders. Leaders need to have communication with their employees, to have that dialogue, that relationship back and forth, so that you can understand what the needs are of the employees, because different companies, different businesses, they're all different. If management and the leadership can understand what the needs are of their employees, then they can better serve their employees and provide them with optimal solutions for well-being, and ultimately providing those optimal solutions to help lift up the well-being of the employees is going to lift up the well-being of the workplace and the business as a whole. So having that communication between leadership and understanding what the needs are of the employees, then we can make a better decision, an informed decision on what is going to be the optimal solution to help boost the well-being of these employees. And I think that's something that's missing. And I've seen this quite a bit, is this disconnect between management and employees. And management has this idea that, okay, well, we're on the management, we do this, and then the employees are over here, and the corporate wellness program is for employees, and that there's this disconnect and this idea that they're separate, when we want to have that relationship, have that dialogue, and to get feedback. When it comes to us, this is talking about Opti and how we provide, optimal solutions in the workplace. When we're working with businesses, we pride ourselves in helping to facilitate that communication. And so when we can facilitate that communication with the companies that we work with, that then helps them to understand what the dialogue with that, having that communication platform open, can look like, and they can take that then to their employees. So when we work with these companies, we can have that conversation back and forth so that we can see, okay, we did this workshop, we helped to reduce stress, we covered this. How's that working for your company now? Are you seeing that they are integrating some of the solutions that we offered? And how is that working out? Or are there questions, are there hangups or hurdles that we get to overcome and address so that they can get over that obstacle and then climb up the ladder to optimizing well-being? So having communication, and communication is so important. And so,
absolutely.
Yeah. And I know you're really familiar with communication and how the role of that, and how between different departments, between upper, lower management teams, and just having that communication is so important so we can have clarity.
Absolutely. And that's why I think for me, when I consider 3 questions to just start off with, when you're thinking about what is the right corporate well-being company for me, number 1 is, what is the outcome that you desire as a company leader? What's the outcome that you desire? Do you desire to see more connection within your team because you're seeing that there is a lot of disconnection? People aren't connecting as much, maybe because you're 100% remote or hybrid or whatever it may be. What is the outcome that you desire to see? Do you desire to see that people are doing better at balancing work with things outside of work, and so that they're able to have more fruitful lives outside of work and therefore show up at work in a much higher capacity? Do you desire to see that your culture shifts from one that is addicted to the stress and overwhelm to one where people can manage their stress? What is the outcome that you desire to see? Because that's going to be really important to understand what's the best corporate well-being program for you, because there's a lot of them. As Cody, you mentioned, there's a lot of different ones. And so in order to at least slim down the amount of options, what's the outcome that you desire? And one of the things that we recommend are surveys. So we do a pre and post survey for all of our workshops that we do. We also recommend, though, if you have a company leader or considering a corporate well-being program, is do a survey and have it be anonymous. It's usually better in order to get more honest feedback, is have it be anonymous anonymous, a survey on like, when you think about stress, when you think about well-being, and then you can actually like define well-being so that people can understand what that means. Where do you think you could use the most support? And then maybe you have a list of things. Sometimes people do better if they can like choose something as an option versus think at the top of their head. But then you can also have like other so that people can input things in order to help you understand, again, what are people struggling with? And then the last one is, how will you know if the corporate well-being program is helping you? How do you know that it's supporting you towards the goals that you have? And in order to do that, of course, you need to address question number one, which is what are those goals in order to create the outcomes? Number three is all about how do you know if the corporate well-being program is working? And having those tangible things so that you could then find a corporate well-being program that's going to understand that goal and be able to say, yes, we can help you with that, or no, actually, we don't do that. And that's really important so that you don't choose something that then is misaligned with the goals that you have, or you're not going to be able to see the actual outcomes of it. So is it that from the survey that you administer the first round anonymously, do you then administer that again and you're going to know if it works by being able to see different answers on that survey? Or is it based on your weekly one-on-one meetings? Are you seeing an improvement in how proactive your employees are being? Get really specific on what your work looks like as a company leader with your team that would then showcase that, yes, this is working for us. So those are 3 questions that I share with you as a company leader to know what would be the right corporate well-being company for me. That allows you to narrow it down, and then you can go off to search. Cody, you want to add some?
Those are really good 3 key points right there, is just understanding what is your ideal outcome? What is your desired outcome for you as a manager or a leader? Then also your employees. Survey your employees, understand what their needs are, because if you can serve their needs, then they're more likely to stay at your company and to perform at a high level. Number 2 was, how do you want your employees to benefit from this? So just getting clear on what are the benefits that they can expect and how can you provide these benefits? Because if they benefit, then your company is going to benefit as well. And then number 3, just understanding, how will you know if this is actually working? How can you be able to measure and show that this actually is helping out your employees and your company as a whole? So those 3 key points, it's really important, and it's something that's very tangible that we can take away with this. When it comes to choosing the right corporate well-being program, choosing the right solutions for your company, look at the company as a whole. I mean, you can shop around and look at different companies and look at the company itself. What is the internal operations of these corporate well-being companies? Are they the type of company that is practicing what they preach? Are they leading by example? Are they themselves integrating a lot of the well-being solutions that they're sharing? Is the company practicing what they preach? Are they leading by example? When you can find a company that leads by example and practices what they preach really at the top level of corporate well-being, then I would guess that they're doing something right. So again, we're going to go deeper into this in further episodes, but yeah, just understanding what the needs are of your company, of your employees, how you can serve them at the highest level, and then also be able to measure, is this working? Is this not working? And having engagement with a corporate well-being company so that you can pivot, adapt, and make sure that you're serving your corporation at the highest level. So thank you for listening to this episode. Join us on the next episode where we're going to dive deeper into more juicy topics on optimizing corporate well-being all across the world. If you found this podcast valuable, we invite you to check out our free checklist, the 5 action items to optimize your workplace today. You can grab yours over at www.optiwellbeing.com. That's OPTI wellbeing.com. Get yours now, and we'll see you there.